the Gold Coast. I was living in Brisbane at the time and Laurie was in Melbourne, and he was a probationary constable at Fitzroy at the time, and we basically met when we were out clubbing with some friends. So I got little Charlie and Henry. Charlie's 5 and Henry's 3.5, and they are the best things that ever happened to us. On New Year's Eve last year, I basically got a phone call from Laurie, and he sounded quite distressed, and he also sounded a little bit intoxicated. Laurie's phone call to me distressed me quite a bit, and I was a little bit concerned about his well-being because he was actually trying to pick a fight with me over something very, very trivial, to the point where I started thinking to myself, this is not the Laurie that I know. About 15 minutes later, I received a text message from him that basically said goodbye, and that he was going to leave a suicide note on our computer. And he also asked if the coppers could close the garage door when they finished. I cannot tell you the regret I have in not getting to see you grow up. One of the few good things I have to hold on to is the 3 of you, Mum included, yelling, "Hi Dad," at the top of your voices whenever I came home. I already miss not being able to make hedgehog, jelly slice and gingerbread men that catch fire. Ask your mum about that for your birthdays. I miss never being able to see you play footy, cricket, join the nippers or whatever you choose to pursue. I wanted to be at every match, event, camp that I could, and it saddens me to think that I have let you down. I know your mum will be there to cheer you on, and I want you to know that every time she cheers you, I would have been cheering just as loud. I got a visit from these policemen who are very well known in my parents' community, and they drove down my parents' driveway, and I heard the car, so I ran out the front with my mum and dad, and they got out of the car, and the first thing they did was they took off their police hat. When I saw that, I just knew that it was true. I didn't know how or anything at that stage, and when they told me how he had died, I broke down. It was very difficult. I am just not strong enough to keep fighting the fight in my head, and I am so, so sorry. I hope that whenever you find yourself in need, I'll be that pestering little angel on your shoulder that steers you in the right way. Look after your minds, look after your bodies, look after each other, and especially look after your mother. Make me and your mum proud. Love you always, Dad. In the 5 weeks prior, Laurie was severely depressed. He would talk to me, but to nobody else. And I was trying to seek help for him. I actually started seeing a psychologist in order to try and help him with his problems because he just would not speak to anybody. I even tried to encourage him to speak to some of his friends and his work colleagues that he's quite close to, but he just said no one would understand my problem. He was using quite negative phrases. He was sort of saying, "I don't feel like I'm worth anything. I feel like I'm dragging you and the boys down." In Laurie's email, his goodbye email, he actually stated he did not want a funeral because he didn't believe that his 32 years of life was worth celebrating. And I thought, if there's going to be one thing that I believe in, it's that his 32 years of life is definitely worth celebrating. So I went against that will.
We have entrusted Laurie to the hands of God. We now commit his body to be cremated, earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, in the sure and certain hope of the resurrection to eternal life through our Lord Jesus Christ, who died, was buried, and rose again for us. To God be the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
It was probably his role as a police officer and having that stigma attached with what a police officer is meant to be seen as that probably made him a little bit reluctant to go seek help. I know from a fact that, speaking to many other officers, that a lot of them are aware that there are services out there, whether it's psychology, whether it's social support, whether it's just a counsellor to talk to about personal issues, financial support as well. It's all out there. But I think they're reluctant to seek help internally because they're worried it's going to affect their, promotional opportunities. I do also feel that Laurie had this sort of, stigma that I'm a police officer, I'm supposed to be the one that helps the mentally ill and those that need help. I can't be seen as having any issues myself. The way I see it now is, you need to be of sound mind in order to protect the community. I see police officers as being someone who does protect the community. we call them when we're in trouble. We need to have someone that's of very good sound mind to come and help protect us. It's easy for me to say that my life has changed for the worst, but if anything, I have learnt so much about myself, about Laurie, and about police in general, that I feel that Laurie's legacy is actually to try and prevent one other family from going through what I'm going through. I feel like his legacy is to tell other people, listen, I didn't speak up because I didn't know how, I didn't know who to speak to, but if I could do it all over again, I know I would speak to somebody. I have found this year quite challenging. I had 1 year left of my degree to finish in midwifery. It was actually Laurie's wish in his email for me to finish my degree, and that's what gave me the power to keep going. But at the same time, I had to deal with two grieving children, and they were both grieving very differently. I also had a car accident earlier this year, which didn't help anything. And just trying to deal with day-to-day life, but also what has Laurie left me with. I sort of feel that my future is going to incorporate some of Laurie's legacy. Victoria Police Legacy has brought me something that I never thought I would be a part of. I've always known about Victoria Police Legacy. I know that Laurie has always been a contributor through his pay. Never for 1 second thought that I would ever be a part of it. And now that I am a part of it, I am so happy because I feel like I've still got that attachment with Victoria Police. And with the boys, I know that they're going to have that attachment as being legatees themselves. And what I want to do is actually increase the awareness of male depression amongst police officers in the force. And I feel that if I can prevent one other family from going through what I'm going through, then I'm going to feel like I've done Laurie some justice. He's going to be proud of me and the boys. I know it. I can feel it.